Okay, folks, I'd like to thank you for hitting the download button on today's podcast. And not only do I appreciate that, but Sean and myself and Sean's extended families and anyone who knows us would like to say thank you. We have a computer here that keeps breaking down, folks, and we don't have any sponsors to thank. AdamandEve.com and all those other
Sherry's Berries don't
want anything to do with us.
Yeah.
We just have listeners, and as I've said in the past, if someone listens to this, maybe when we both die alone in turn, someone will remember us fondly.
True.
And that's the best we can hope for, because we don't have legions of contracts as an announcer with various production companies and professional wrestling entities, and of course a pension and a big savings bank account based on our many profitable years with the biggest fucking pro wrestling company in the world. And we don't have successful restaurants and books and barbecue sauce and all the rest, because so we don't have to debase. Well, we do have to debase ourselves, like coming out here begging for pennies, begging, just give me anything, please. There's a hole in me cowboy hat. The ship is going down, folks. Jesus, JR, brother, you're exposing your business.
Yeah.
Hey, folks, I'd like to let you know that if you don't give me 10 cents from your Amazon purchase, I'm going to die of liver failure. Fucking hell, man. You are better than that, sir.
Come on now, JR. You are better.
And just be the great radio voice as well, which you'd expect, because JR is a fucking phenomenal announcer.
Yeah. What about 40 years experience?
Yeah. But it's just this whole thing where it's like, if you don't buy a car from TruthCar.com, well, folks, I think my heart's going to give out.
Yeah.
Fuck off. I don't want to be guilted into giving you more millions.
Yeah, he's got adult kids he needs to support. Yeah. Apparently.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
We're not here to shit on JR, but
much.
No, but you know what I mean. In all truthness, that's the thing. I mean, I would think we're both. The assessment that Jim Ross is probably the greatest professional wrestling announcer of all time.
I'd agree.
And I think it's so weird.
Him and Steve McMichael.
Steve McMichael, yeah. Oh boy. But and of course Dusty, they got a bathical baby.
I don't know where the kid who was riding it.
And what was the other guy? Mike Adamley.
Oh yeah.
Jeff Harvey.
Yeah.
And
the Taz.
And CM is having a great match. But anyway, we're not here to talk about professional wrestling as usual.
Yeah.
We're here to talk about Cannon Films, the Cannon Films Canon, and logo. Sadly, there was a really off-color joke led into the logo on our last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's gone.
That's one that I said it off the top of my head and immediately thought, wow, that was really too far.
Yeah, it was an Ed Ferrara joke, so it was.
Yeah, it was.
We'll just leave it at that.
It was uncool, it was unfair.
But we're here to talk about our first horror movie.
Yeah. Well, unless you count Bolero, which I kind of do.
It is. That's real horror.
Yeah.
It's like when people go, I've never been in a horror movie situation, and I'm just like, I don't know, I went to a church where people got abused. Was that guy Father something down in Ferns?
Father Diddley Hands.
Oh yeah, I can't remember his name. I think it was, I don't want to say a wrong name because the crimes associated with this man were legion and heinous.
Yes.
But there was a priest that was a serial rapist in County Wexford, and I grew up hearing stories about how this man had cut a bloody swath through the county in the diocese. And
luckily enough, where I'm from, Mayo, never had any of that. As far as I'm aware. Like, I've never heard the stories, no accusations have come out, so I'm, touch wood, long may that continue, but...
I just remember someone going, so is John going to be an altar boy? And my ma going, no.
No.
Like, my mother was a lot more religious than I.
Yeah.
The only reason I got my communion and my confirmation money, or confirmation, I let the thing go there.
Yeah.
It was because there's big paydays associated.
Absolutely.
And, like, if there was I'd still be in the Catholic Church probably if there was a payday every year. I'd be like, whatever. Yeah, I know they're going to use.
You and Honky Tonk Man.
Yeah, I've been working the Mizarks. But anyway, we're talking about Tobe Hooper.
Yeah.
And our first horror film, first venture into horror. Of course, Tobe Hooper himself.
Yeah.
We're talking about Lifeforce from 1986, of course, but Tobe Hooper is a fairly legendary name in the world of horror.
Yes, because he directed the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
He did indeed. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I'm sure everybody who'd be listening to this show has probably seen, but it is beyond the shadow of a doubt one of the greatest movies ever made.
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking horrifying. Like,
absolutely. And not only that, it was one of the horror directors to this day take things from that movie.
Oh yeah, that was a watershed release or a landmark release, like he also, of course, for Cannon directed Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, which we will surely cover in a future episode. But it's Chainsaw 2 gets a lot of hate from fans and critics alike.
Yeah.
Personally, I adore Chainsaw 2. It's one of my favorite
I never saw what everyone's hate boner was about with that movie. It was a good fucking movie.
It's great. We'll get to that later on. Of course, Salem's Lot, he also directed the 2-part made-for-TV transition version of Stephen King's book, which I really enjoy. Like, Salem's Lot's my favourite horror book of all time. And I think his version of it is fun, but it's not terrifying.
Yeah.
And,
And as well as that, he directed a film that, for me at least, growing up, was one of the scariest movies ever, which was Poltergeist.
Well, whether he directed that or not is left up to debate. Like, there's a lot of stories out there. Like, apparently Poltergeist was... Steven Spielberg wanted to direct it. And because of some weird legal loophole with his contracts, he couldn't direct it. So he was a producer.
Oh, right.
And apparently, Tobe Hooper would call action or whatever, but Spielberg was on set as much as him and probably called more shots.
Probably.
And,
it does feel more like a Spielberg movie than a Tobe Hooper.
Yeah, but look at him. Sure, he got paid.
That's true. He got the payday.
And Tobe Hooper and paydays is a long story because it's a chainsaw. I think with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like the mafia were involved in financing it. I think it was Bryanston was the name of the company that released it through.
I think he may actually have converted to Catholicism just to get the confirmation money. I'm not 100% sure about that.
But I'm a big fan of Tobe Hooper. Last one I remember him directing and releasing was a remake of the Toolbox Murders, which I remember thinking at the time was bizarre because the Toolbox Murders was like a fucking rip-off of Chainsaw from where I was But he released a remake of it. Now, good brother who cuts the chauffeurs saw it, and he told me that it wasn't so hot, and I guess I had something else to do that weekend, so I missed it.
I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was... I heard Good Brother's review of this as well, and I watched it myself, and I thought, I don't see where he's coming from. This isn't a terrible film.
I just never got to it. It was, I remember that was the time when we were watching Cannibal Holocaust 2. And other classics like that,
Alright.
I don't think it's going to become a shock to the listeners after listening to us talk about I'm a big horror fan anyway. I don't know. I'm assuming you are.
I'm not as big a fan as you are, but I'm quite partial to a good scare. Yeah,
I mean I'm a huge horror fan, and Tobe Hooper's kind of special to me in a weird way because the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was the second DVD I ever bought, and I remember that time because there's this amazing documentary on the Chainsaw disc. The first one was like 72 minutes long, and it's all about the history of the film and the influences behind it and stuff like that. And I remember I became obsessed with that movie, and I used to watch it like nearly every night of the week for like a long time, just because it as a kid who wanted to make films, I was just like, it's so scary and so visceral, and they did it with nothing, you know. And the story itself, and I'll be honest with you, the story itself, kind of the DVD, like, it actually led me down the road to where we are here, because I remember in the documentary, I believe it's called The Saw's Family or something like that, or the Saw, or something about Saw, some Saw pun. But they discuss Golan-Globus, and we're saying, like, because like they were going, the original version that Tobe directed, the Chainsaw 2, it's probably hidden in some vault in Israel somewhere. And I was like, what the fuck? I didn't know Cannon were Israeli, like, you know. So that kind of
and it makes it sound like makes it sound like you know, like a big special item in Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. You'd have to go and,
you know, you have to do like a whole shitload of parkour around a tomb somewhere to get at it.
You do a bunch of puzzles, and a portrait of Jesus on the wall turns into a portrait of Charles Bronson.
Yes, if only that happened with every one of them.
Yeah.
I'd still be a Catholic today if that was the case.
Oh, look at
Do you believe in Jesus?
Yeah, you wouldn't have a fucking choice.
True.
You know?
Very true.
Instead of fucking child sex, to just be vigilante priests, like, you know?
Oh God.
But anyway, we're getting into to Lifeforce.
Yeah.
And had you heard of this movie before?
I'd heard of it, but I'd never seen it until we reviewed this.
Yeah, I'd never seen it myself either.
When I saw the trailer, I thought, this looks amazing. I did a little bit of background on it, and I was like, there is an unbelievable pedigree of just the people involved in the production of this. I'll get into that later. I've got a shitload of notes on that. I went into this with pretty high expectations, let me tell you. I don't know about yourself.
Well, for me, like, it doesn't have a legendary reputation. So, and I know Tobe isn't the most consistent filmmaker.
No.
Like, so I don't know. Look, I figured I'd enjoy it on some level, because every film I've seen of Tobe Hooper's, I've enjoyed on some level.
Yeah.
You know, maybe, like, the problem is he's one of these guys, he's like Kevin Smith, you know. His first film was this kind of watershed classic.
Yeah.
What do you do now?
Yeah, where do you go from there?
And it's a problem that a lot of people run into, you know. Like, some people, like Quentin Tarantino releases Reservoir Dogs, and then with the jab, and then with the hook comes back with Pulp Fiction, like, you know. And, like, I believe the second film Tobe Hooper made after Chainsaw was this horror hotel picture.
Yeah.
With Robert Englund, and there's like a booby trap with a alligator at the bottom of it.
Yeah.
But
it wasn't good. It wasn't good at all.
I was kind of thinking this will be cool. I just thought it'd be at least fun.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about this this movie is, and I think this episode's probably going to be a little bit different because of what the film was. Usually, if I can borrow a JR analogy, all right, there's a lot more steak with the sizzle on this one.
Yeah.
You know, usually with Cannon films, it's all sizzle, no steak. And this, this film is, there's a good bit of steak on the plate. Yeah. You know, and
there's a lot to get tucked into anyways.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I like the sizzle.
Yeah.
You know, it's weird. It's just, it's just a kind of a thing, like with Cannon, they made these, like, films that were like a packet of nerds.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Cheap to produce and fucking amazing going in.
Yeah.
Once it's in there, it's just E-numbers.
True.
You know? But this movie had a little bit extra depth.
Yeah.
To it, so.
Well, this one is. This was a break from Cannon's usual business model.
Yeah.
This was one of the bigger budget films that they produced. It cost $25 million to make, which at the time was an astronomical figure.
I should imagine so.
You know, I mean, Close Encounters cost about 35. This is the region we're in with this here, and unfortunately, it did not make its investment back, not even close. It only made about 11 million back gross at the box office. So this was one of the bombs that really hurt Cannon.
Okay.
This along with Masters of the Universe and Quest for Peace are some of the movies that eventually sank Cannon.
Well, the sad thing is, like, they probably could have made the same story on like 3 million.
Yeah, you really could have.
You know, made 11 off.
Yeah, true.
But anyway, we'll with that knowledge in mind, we'll jump into the main picture.
From the director of Poltergeist and the writer of Alien comes a terrifying new film.
I'm getting a very small radar cross-section. 150 miles long.
EGR's confirmed.
Tell them we have an artificial object out here.
In the tail of Halley's Comet, there's something wrong. Something ancient. Something evil.
Jesus.
Houston, we have a problem. Something's happening to me.
Something hungry that's brought to Earth.
She's destroyed worlds.
That girl was no girl. She was totally alien to this planet and our life form. And totally dangerous.
We just found a body in Hyde Park.
Lifeforce.
Close your eyes.
Visited you how?
In my mind.
Let it go! It's already spreading. You didn't stop it. It's too late.
Come. Be with me.
Lifeforce. The terror has just begun.
And okay, we'll jump in from the thing. Like the obviously credits, but when Lifeforce came about, like when it started, like a couple of things took me. Like one, the score. The score is fantastic.
Yeah, the score was done by Henry Mancini, the multiple Oscar-winning composer of Pink Panther fame.
Okay.
And Henry Mancini is known among composers as the guy who can work in just about any style. You know, whereas like other great guys like, Gregson Williams or Morricone, your personal favorite, they can only do a certain type of score, whereas Mancini could do just about anything. Well, and the bombast of this score just sort of, carried the film in a lot of ways.
The weird thing is, and I haven't done the research, but this music is used a lot in Game Center CX, the Japanese game TV show, which I would recommend everybody go watch because it's fantastic. But they also use the music from Alan Quartermain. And I was just like, why do they use Cannon music exclusively? Almost, it's very strange.
Maybe they're Mizarks like us, man. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, the credits showed a lot of promise. Like Dan O'Bannon is involved in the screenplay. Yeah. The guy who wrote Alien, of course, and then
as soon as I saw that in Mancini, I was thinking, okay, we're in.
And Patrick Stewart, of course, is on the cast list. And, so I was just like, okay, here we go. Like,
let's do this.
But it was. We started out with Halley's Comet in the background, and there's a spaceship going to investigate the comet for reasons, and basically they're like, hey, we've discovered something that shouldn't be there next to the comet.
Yeah.
So which apparently the addition to the comet was a major bone of contention with Dan O'Bannon. He didn't want the comet involved.
Yeah, he was not a fan of that addition whatsoever.
But basically we find out there's this big kind of H.P. Lovecraft looking monster spaceship in space, and where it would be.
Yeah, of course.
But the crew of the HMS or whatever it is, the Churchill shuttle, go to investigate. And there's a lot of cool music, but a lot of cool effects.
Yeah.
Like, they were retro looking for the time almost. Like Fantastic Voyage style effects or something.
I was getting more of an Alien vibe from this.
They were definitely going for Alien.
Yeah.
But like the way that the space suit guys would fly through the screen, it was very much like that Fantastic Voyage kind of 50s.
Yeah. And the way that a lot of the scenes on the spaceship were shot, I kind of got the impression that Tobe Hooper was going for kind of a 2001 buzz.
Yeah,
this.
like they get onto the ship and they find like big bat people corpses.
Yeah, on this thing, on this 150-mile long spaceship, with like a bunch of, it looks like an organic kind of fleshy thing. We're deep in H.R. Giger territory.
That's the
here.
thing. I like it when they design spaceships and stuff and clearly put like weird human elements into it, because at the back of the ship there is a big arsehole. Yeah,
it's in my notes here. There's a massive sphincter where they find these bats, these bat-looking things.
And I always appreciate that. Like, Giger did it very well. Like, his art was generally kind of weird horror sex art. Like, and then I think there's other people who've done, like Guillermo del Toro puts like a lot of vaginal imagery into his movies, like,
and lots of secretion porn as well. He's got a goo fetish. I think.
He loves autopsies as well. Like, watch all of his movies. There's usually an autopsy. But I like it when people put like vaginas and phalluses and anuses into films. It's just, I don't know, it's just kind of cool looking. Like, you know. But and this has it, like, and basically our space crew of space people are running around this ship, obviously investigating it, because why the fuck wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Like, you know?
Led by our hero as Colonel Carlson.
Yeah, John Boy Walton.
Yeah, the one American on a British crew.
Yeah.
You know, it's a nice little U-571 nod to the Americans here.
But it's...
Because, you know, America does run everything. Let's be clear on that.
Sure, they wouldn't have known what way to direct the rocket if they hadn't have been on it. Like, we shoot it straight into the ground.
Let's just ask the cowboy. They know things.
Yeah. We'll shoot it into the mountain there.
Yeah.
No, best not. Best space.
Yeah, we'll point it in the general direction of up and hope for the best.
I do remember someone making a joke on television one time about the moon landing. Like, here, this guy here, he was the navigator. Probably had the easiest job. Yeah. See the moon, lads? Yeah, head for it. But
you know, that big white rock. Just aim for that. You can't go too far.
If you're heading for the Earth, you're going the wrong way.
You know, if you end up in Leitrim, you know, it's entirely wrong.
But they go and look through the spaceship anyway, and they find the bat people, but they also find a 3 pods, I guess, crystal pods.
Yeah, 3 crystal pods with 3 exceptionally beautiful naked people in them.
They're in there. They're in the glass. Like, they really don't care about the 2 dudes. This is all about the girl. Played by Mathilda May.
Yes. Now Mathilda May. After Bolero, we have to check these things. She was 19 when it was filmed. Oh, okay. 19, so it was all good. And she was a former French ballet dancer. Her mother was the prima ballerina of the Malmo state.
Prima ballerina.
Yeah, of the Swedish state ballet.
That sounds like one of Lord Humongus's many accolades.
Yeah, pretty much.
The Ayatollah of rock and roller, the prima ballerina, the Lord of the Wasteland.
But actually, considering his predilections, it wouldn't surprise me. She had been a dancer since she was about 5 years old, and my lord, you could tell she was unbelievably hot. Mathilda May, was it really necessary to have her, you know, walking
nude?
Yeah, nude. For,
I definitely think it was
the entirety of her screen appearance.
Well, she's not nude, and she's wearing weird gimmicks near the end.
Oh yeah.
But no, I definitely think she should have been naked, because it makes sense
Yeah.
Like, we'll get into why it makes sense later on. But, no. Like, it definitely... it's weird. There's nothing... She's nude, but there's nothing kind of sexual about the way she... Like, she's just naked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I guess she's just there going, oh yeah, I guess that's... Like, there's a scene later on where it's, like, very kind of, like, sexually suggestive.
Yeah.
But, like, she's almost like a statue or something.
Yeah.
She just kind of stands there just being naked.
And being gorgeous.
Oh yeah, she actually... If you think of, like, the Brides of Dracula or something like that,
yeah,
she probably looks the way you think, you know, that kind of conjured image.
Yeah.
You know, she's like... She looks like a Castlevania villain.
Mm.
You know?
What I have in my notes here is she is a dead ringer for a young Alyssa Milano.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, for me now, I don't know if you ever played Castlevania Bloodlines on the Mega Drive.
Can't say I have.
There's a villain in that based on Elizabeth Bathory. And very much kind of the drawing of her would be like a stylized blue-skinned version of this woman. Like,
oh, right.
So she does have that kind of weird vampiric quality, which is kind of fitting.
Yeah,
you know?
they screen tested about 1,000 women before they settled on Matilda May.
I'll say this as well. She also wouldn't look out of place in a Hammer horror film.
God, no.
And I would imagine maybe Tobe Hooper was probably thinking, I'm going to make a horror film in England.
Yeah. I'm
making my Hammer movie, like, you know.
That never occurred to me until now, but yeah, that makes perfect sense.
So there's probably a reason.
Mm.
The only thing she hasn't got going for her is she's kind of got sideburns. I noticed that right now. I've got sideburns. I'm a man, though. You know.
Well, but, it was the 80s. It was a different time.
But she does have. She's not quite the honky tonk man.
Yeah.
But
there is a bit of burnage going on.
A bit of burnage, you know. Mr. Burns would not be happy.
Yeah.
Mattingly, get rid of those sideburns.
What sideburns?
You heard me, hippie.
Basically, that's kind of the beginning of her story. They find the sexy space people.
Yeah.
And then cut to Earth 3 months later or something.
Yeah.
And
cut to like 30 days later or something like that.
Later,
and the Churchill is coming back, but it hasn't. It's out of its trajectory that it needs to be in.
Yeah.
They sent. There's no SOS coming out of it. There's no reply to any hails. So they send people up, and it's a burnt out shell.
Yeah.
It's a burnt out shell of a spaceship, and the ESA, the European Space Agency, immediately goes, well, what the fuck is up, dog?
Well, I love the fact that it comes back, the ship comes back, and the two British scientists look at each other and go, send up to Columbia. And you see, like, the American shuttle going off, and I was like, yeah. I wish space travel was that gung-ho. Can you imagine just being able to jump onto a space shuttle and go at a day's notice?
Exactly. That'd be amazing.
They'd be like, right, well, it's up there.
Yeah.
I guess we'll get to it in a few months.
Something like that.
You know? It's... But yeah, it was amazing. I love how they were just like, yeah, send to Columbia. I wish we had space travel like that.
Yeah,
still,
and it was literally just like that. It was literally send up to Columbia, next shot, Columbia going up.
Yeah.
And
if only. But yeah, they get up there. The ship is burnt out to fuck. But the vampire people, they're grand.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with them. So they go, sure, let's bring him back to Earth, because nothing bad will happen because of that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, bringing these people from another world down to Earth, nothing bad has ever come out of that.
I love the idea, though, as well, of you come back from space and they don't put you in quarantine, they put you in, like, just a lab in England.
Yeah.
I mean, when Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin and all that came back from the moon, they were in an isolation tank for like months on end.
Yeah.
You know, and this is just like, stick her in the corner there, she'd be grand.
Yeah, the whole of this film, for about the first half hour of this film at least, I'm thinking, what exactly are your quarantine procedures here, ESA?
I know, in fairness, they could kind of go, hey man, it was the 80s, we didn't have seatbelts.
Yeah, true.
We just fucking live for the moment. Yeah, but,
You know, we're too busy taking cocaine and listening to Wham to care about any of that.
Jesus Christ, new wave of British heavy metal was tearing its way across the world.
Yeah.
There was Iron Maiden shows to go to. They still hadn't released Power Slave. What's your problem? Like,
Okay, fair point.
living on the razor's edge. But she wakes up in the lab. Our space girl does. I believe that's what she's called actually in the credits.
Yeah, Space Girl. That's her credit in this.
And she sucks there's a guard kind of getting a bit pervy with her. And he's gawping at her, and she wakes up and she sucks the life force out of him.
Yeah.
Just like all women, am I right?
I know. Hey.
That was the one joke that I was like, you know what? It has to be done.
Yeah.
Has to be done. You know?
Damn cheating women.
Sorry, ladies. But
I'm not.
It's the most obvious joke, you know. But I meant to say actually there was a couple of jump scares before this, and when she wakes up there's a proper jump scare. And one thing this film does really well is it'll give you a nice jump scare every now and then, like you know.
And the soundtrack to this is perfect for jump scares because it builds it nicely.
Just a weird kind of sting that happens when the scares attached to Space Girl happen. Yeah. It's this kind of weird piercing sound. Yeah. And it works. Like, she's lightning powers now. Yeah. So, that's the thing.
You know, that's an aspect of the film that's never explained. The vampires have lightning powers.
Personally, I think she's the Highlander. You know?
But there's 3 of them and they're not fighting each other.
They're the princes of the universe.
Oh, right.
And she's the queen of the universe.
I get you now. I get you.
Fighting for survival. They've come to be the rulers of you all. But, fucking Highlander. There's a Cannon film, actually. Yeah. But, she wakes up, she does she sucks the life out of him, and then she's like, she's got lightning powers, and she's like, I'm gonna go escape.
Yeah, and here's another part of this. The head guy in the ESA, or the guy who's overlooking this, he's watching this on CCTV up in his office, and he just boots it down to where this is going on, and just goes straight into the door. Again, no fucking quarantine.
Yeah.
And she just goes, look, you know, my body is yours to use as you see fit. And then she shifts him, and he's like, oh, fuck, oh my god. And, you know, and when they find him, he hasn't had the life force sucked out of him, because apparently she's got her fill at this point. Yeah. But he's still in a bad way. He's still in a wreck.
That sentence is funny.
What's it?
He hasn't had the life force sucked out of him because she's had her fill. You know, like that's what the jokes have to be made.
They have to be made.
But
right?
she
hasn't entirely ruined his life.
No.
Give her time.
Yeah, she's just there going like, I know you like my amazing naked body. Yeah, but I'm gonna make you buy me handbags and shoes to cover it up. But.
Because that's what women like.
That's what women do. We discussed this before. And hashtag sexist Reddit. I don't know.
Hashtag red pill.
Oh god, that's the second time we're gonna get contacted by one of these fucking necktards.
Good. I want to troll the life out of that community. It's fucking, you know, that would be hilarious.
Fucking idiots.
Yeah, but
why? You know why you're not getting any?
Right.
Because you're a fucking cunt. Yeah. That's why. Idiots. Anyway, there's a lot of sexual undertones in this picture. You can tell this by like, you know, where the space girl is. She's the only female character outside of the women on the shuttle. Yeah. There are women on the shuttle. And she is like, there's just men surrounding her. And they're all kind of beguiled and scared of her, like she's an actual monster. But she's just this amazing looking naked woman. Yeah. And it is kind of like
in the scene where they found her on the ship, they're taking a look at her, and it's like, and one of them goes, do they look all right to you? And one of the guys is like, I've been up here for 6 months. She looks amazing to me.
Yeah, but it's like they're scared of her.
Yeah.
Like the security guards in the building are scared of her. And she's obviously as they're going, okay, we're into the stake of the movie here.
Yeah.
This is clearly about a gang of men
Yeah.
being scared by aggressive female sexuality.
Yeah.
You know, and
That being said aggressive female sexuality tears the life out of them. So
yeah, but still, like, you know what I mean. There's a lot going on here in the subtext.
Yeah,
you know?
there's a bit going on underneath the surface here.
Basically, they're trying to corral this woman, but she escapes.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know, let's do an autopsy on the dude she took the life out of.
Yeah, and here's the thing. She disappears out into the fog outside the ESA.
Very Hammer horror.
Yeah, and they just sort of let her go.
Why wouldn't you?
I suppose so, but...
Best left unsolved.
But would they not think, okay, she's after killing about, like, 3 or 4 guards making her escape. Can we not, like, put one in the back of her head? I mean...
Don't know if it would make a difference.
Apparently not.
But,
as we find out later on in the film. But... at the same time, you're sort of thinking, hang on, no, you can't.
It's like in wrestling, right, where like an attack will go on, right, and 2 guys will fight in the ring. It's a segment, and one of them will jump out of the ring, and the other guy will stay in the ring and he'll stare at him, going, "Oh, I hate you! I wish I could get you!" Like, get out of the ring and walk 5 minutes.
Yeah.
He'll get him, like, he's
20 feet away.
Yeah,
Come
go
on.
just run.
Run.
You're lazy. That's what your problem is, Brock.
Yeah.
But,
I'll just stand here and be sweaty and scary.
Yeah. But anyway, they go do the autopsy, and this scene is fucking so cool because they've got an actual, like, the husk of the guy.
Yeah.
It's proper, like, an animatronic. So it like when they're trying to do the autopsy, he wakes up and starts freaking out.
And the animatronics in this were done in all of this film, and all of the creature effects were done by John Dykstra, one of the founders of ILM.
Oh, okay.
And he won 2 Oscars for Star Wars. He went on to win another for Spider-Man 2 in about 20 years time. He one of the absolute pioneers of that sort of business.
Well, I definitely recognize the name. I didn't know that he was that guy though.
Oh, he was that guy.
Yeah, there's certain guys like Savini and Kurtzman and K&B. Like they're the kind of legendary names.
Yeah,
Rick Baker and things like that. But I don't know them all.
Yeah,
you know, there's like the more mainstream ones then are like Stan Winston and guys like that.
Of course, yeah.
But
John Dykstra he's in that league.
Yeah. Rob Bottin, how could I forget Rob Bottin?
Of course.
Rob Bottin's awesome, like the Thing, Jesus.
And after this scene they bring in Colonel Kane from the SAS.
Yeah, who looks like a mix of Dennis from It's Always Sunny and Art Garfunkel.
Little bit, yeah. He's played by Peter Firth, who went on to have a really successful run in the BBC spy show Spooks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He was like the head of the unit in Spooks.
Yeah.
And I had forgotten that he had a big sheep head on him in his youth. Because in Spooks, it's very close cropped. He looks more military than he does in this.
Yeah.
In this, it's sort of like, I am SAS. His look says, I am SAS, but I don't mind taking acid in the field every now and again.
Yeah.
You know?
I took it more of, yes, I'm a military gentleman, but we all enjoy the disco.
Yeah.
You know?
Who doesn't?
Because
who doesn't?
But...
Can I use that as a drop from now? I want that to be my ringtone. Yes, I am a military man, but I do like a disco.
Yeah, but during the autopsy, the Thing wakes up.
Yeah,
we were talking about the autopsy, and it sucks the life out of another dude, and the guy regenerates.
Yeah,
and this is where the vampirism thing comes in.
Yeah, and the sound effects that they use for this are very strange. It sounds like a donkey getting raped by an elephant. You know, it sounds like no sound a human being can make, which is fucking unnerving.
Yeah, it's very strange. Like the guy reconstitutes, and then like about an hour or two later,
Yeah.
he turns back into the husk.
Yeah.
So you constantly have to feed on other people's life forces.
Mm.
And there's this awesome bit where they have the guy who was doing the autopsy on him, who regenerated, they put him in a cell and watched him for a while.
Yeah.
And then he freaks out, turns into the husk, and runs at the cell bars and explodes into dust.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. Like,
I was wondering about this. It's like, if you don't feed every 2 hours, is there like a bomb in your guts or something?
No, you revert back to the husk, and then you're just made out of dust and broken promises.
Because they did this again with a nurse who was working on the autopsies who got.
Yeah.
And just to observe it, they strapped her down onto a gurney. And they actually had her separated off from everyone for once.
Yeah.
And they were just watching this while it was going on. She was there.
Well, that to me again...
And then she just exploded again.
To me again, I was there going, I think this is a bit more of the subtext there.
Yeah.
Because she was a victim of Space Girl.
Yeah.
Which means that they had to make out off camera, of course.
Yeah.
So we're getting a little bit of kind of lesbian kind of stuff going on there.
Yeah.
And these men going... Right, well, she clearly kissed a girl. We better quarantine her.
Yeah.
You know, and watch her explode from her sin.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
the repressed sexuality thing is very fucking strong in this movie.
It becomes a bigger deal when Patrick Stewart turns up.
Oh, yeah.
But let me see now. Oh, yeah, the Crypt Keeper is what they reminded me of, the husks. You know,
A little bit, yeah. A little bit.
But they turn into dust, all the things. But the Home Secretary turns up at this point, because the government would get involved.
Of course.
Now, this guy is fairly inconsequential character, but the minute I recognised him, I was like, I don't like you.
Who was it?
He's in 2 movies. I can't remember his name now, but I think his first name is Aubrey something.
Oh, Aubrey Morris.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was the innkeeper in The Wicker Man. You know?
Okay, I immediately hate that guy.
You know, the guy who lit that weird hand candle.
Yeah.
He was him, and he was Alex's teacher in
Clockwork Orange.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Yes.
Fuck! I. That's a good pull. I never would have got that one.
I recognized him because I remember when I saw Clockwork Orange, I was like, "Oh, I know this guy. He's a creep."
Yeah.
You know, and he does have that weird little kind of.
Yeah. He has that sort of upper class English rattiness.
Yeah, you wouldn't if someone was stabbing you to death in a ritual. Right?
Yeah.
And then they took their animal mask off
Yeah.
and his face was underneath. Yeah. You'd be like, yeah, I buy
it. Yeah, pretty much.
But what's his name? Agent Coulson?
Colonel Colin Cole.
Yeah, he turns up. He gets his escape pod lands in Texas.
Oh, sorry.
Colonel
Carlson. Yeah.
Colonel Carlson arrives back, and his escape pod arrives in Texas, and he's there going, oh, okay. They're like, bring him over here because there's a problem with vampire women.
Yeah.
And they bring him back to England, and he has like this mental fucking exorcist dream about the space girl.
Now, here's... Yeah, the dream sequence was weird in this, because I have it in my notes here, just that dream sequence. For some reason, and I can't explain exactly why, but it reminded me a lot of Suspiria.
Okay.
You know, that there was a lot, you know, it was like sort of flashing lights, and it was meant to sort of overload your senses a bit.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it worked because there was a genuine feeling of definite feeling of unease about that. It's like, even though this was, you know, shot in a different light, this would have been a sexy scene.
Yeah, there was that bit where she is like the weird space bat.
Yeah.
And then she turns into her.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, that was like The Exorcist. Like, you know, that weird devil statue from The Exorcist.
Yeah. Now, I should mention, the guy who played Carlson is...
terrible actor.
Yeah. Well, he was like the horror B-movie over-actor type of actor.
Big actor.
Yeah. A guy named Steve Railsback. He's famous He's famous. He's the only man in cinema who played both Charlie Manson and Ed Gein over the course of his career.
Fucking hell.
So this should tell you everything you need to know about this guy.
Did he play Ed Gein in the 99?
In the 2002 Ed Gein movie.
Yeah, okay, I knew
and he was Charlie Manson in Helter Skelter. And, you know, and this is a guy, he's like an over-actor, he looks a bit weird, he's got crazy eyes. Like, we're talking very fucking crazy eyes.
But he's
here.
got that John Boy Walton look to him.
Yeah,
as
he
well,
kind of
like,
does
you know.
as well. But it kind of I was thinking more of a Tony Perkins thing. I was getting a bit of a Norman Bates vibe off of him.
Yeah, he's definitely strange. Like, there's weird kind
straight-laced, but there's crazy just underneath the surface.
There's a scene coming up, but that is very weird.
Oh,
But,
I think I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, with his character.
Yeah.
But he's having sexy dreams about the sexy vampire woman, and he's like, "Oh God, I hate it." And then like they hypnotize him, and we get this crazy sex dream. And there's the vampire woman's consciousness has switched to another woman.
Yeah.
Who.
Yeah, they hypnotize Carlson because
Yeah.
he's got some sort of link to this to Space Girl, and they find the woman that his body whose body this Space Girl is inhabiting.
Yeah,
and she's somewhere up in the country walking along. She's found a farmer somewhere.
No, she's a girl.
She's a girl. Yeah, she's another girl.
She like I don't know how to put this, but like she's in fetish gear.
Yeah.
And she finds a farmer, like you were saying, the girl finds a farmer.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Hey, how about you give me a lift in your car?"
Yeah.
And then, like, this to me, I was there going, this is the first scene of any real kind of sexual content.
Yeah.
Because, like, yes, Space Girl was walking around in the nude, but she was very statuesque in her.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing suggestive about her body language.
Whereas this woman is overt.
Oh, yeah, and, like, she just lifts up her dress.
Yeah.
And
stick your hand in there, boy.
Oh, she's like, "Oh, why don't you go hunting for gold down there?"
Yeah.
You know? And she gets the farmer to basically feel her up, but there's this look of shame in his face.
Yeah.
And I was like, "That's your first real sex scene right there."
That's your.
You know, like I was like, "That's kind of fucking." I'll be honest with you, I was like, "This is weird," and I dig it.
Yeah.
You know, it was.
I mean, it was lifted. That bit was lifted straight out of reality porn, like.
Oh yeah, like it's that kind of. Like anytime someone gets across, and we've got to talk about sexuality here.
Oh, absolutely.
But, effectively in film, if you get across "Ooh, I shouldn't be doing this," but I'm gonna do it.
Absolutely. If you can get that, you're in business.
Yeah, it's. I think that's kind of what a lot of like erotica aimed at women is probably built around might get caught.
Well, it's what a lot of like good erotica in general is built on.
Yeah.
You know, the sort of the seduction and the pull away and the I don't want it but I kind of do.
But specifically, like I don't know, like to me that kind of like that's a trope in like those like 9.5 weeks. That kind of the ones that are a bit more
female centric.
Yeah, seem to be like you might get caught.
Yeah,
you know. Imagine that.
Well, it's a trope. It's a trope for like women seducing men, men seducing women. You know, it's a universal. It's universal.
It's look. It was cool. I was like,
I dug it, man. I really did.
I was watching it. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
you turned it on a bit there now.
Yeah,
we're getting a bit of the weirdness, you know. But I enjoyed that scene. I thought it was cool. Carlson. He's there going, we need to go find this girl. So they go to a mental hospital she works at.
Yeah.
The body of the girl, works at. Patrick Stewart's there, of course. And we've got to make special mention of Patrick Stewart. Yeah. He's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Like this was about like 3 or 4 years before Picard.
Yep.
So he was a star of the stage at this point, but he hadn't made his name in like TV or screen.
No, he was in I, Claudius.
True.
And stuff like that.
Yeah, but it was sort of RSC fare.
Yeah,
and originally he wasn't supposed to play this character. Originally, it was supposed to be the legendary stage actor John Gielgud,
Yeah.
who was supposed to play Dr. Anderson, the guy who runs the insane asylum. But Gielgud pulled out over money, and Stewart he was the second choice, so they just called him up to say, "Hey, our guy's Gielgud's gone. Come up and do this."
Is Gielgud the guy who they basically said was hopping off anything with a cock on the set of Caligula?
Yeah. And
Okay.
you remember I don't know if you've ever seen it. They made a film version of Othello back in either the 50s or 60s,
No.
where a white man, played it in like this really horrible blackface.
Oh God!
Yeah.
No, haven't seen it.
Now, don't get me wrong, he was good,
Yeah.
but at the same time, you're thinking, I can't watch this now.
Yeah.
Like, I can watch the Lawrence Fishburne one, no problem, but I can't watch this one.
There's, I think Gielgud may have been the guy that, like, I remember they were saying, like, just on Caligula, just was like fucking every dude he could.
Yeah.
And
from what I understand, I could be wrong about that.
Yeah.
You know, estate of John Gielgud, don't sue me.
there was other, like, the Caligula. I remember in that movie as well. There is not a single frame of that film where Peter O'Toole is sober.
Yeah.
He's got the beer sweats on him.
Yeah.
Every fucking scene he's in.
Even after he dies, there's still like the vapors coming through the fucking.
There's just this look in his eyes that says, "Oh, you don't know what's going on."
Yeah, and
However-
frankly, I don't care.
However, I am in charge, so you're going to have to deal with this.
And as well as that, was I the only one thinking, "Oh my God, we're so deep in Hammer trope territory here." It's like it had to be a fucking insane asylum. Didn't
Oh yeah,
it?
yeah, and like the like you go to the insane asylum,
Yeah.
and Patrick Stewart goes, "Here you go," and then we get this weird scene, and I wrote down here, it's a little bit Tumblr in my description.
Yeah.
A scene of weird psychotic slut shaming.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah,
where-
and there was a weird BDSM vibe to this,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it was like, this is the film. This is the point in the film where it just went flat out insane.
Yeah.
For me,
they took a turn,
yeah, this is because
a hard left.
it was all gravy that up to that point, where it's like, okay, there's some weird psychosexual stuff going on, but it is a creature feature. I'm on
Yeah.
board. I'm used to this sort of thing. This is where it takes a hard left into fucking mental town.
He's just like, you're not her. But
Yeah.
look at her. She's a masochist. And he's
Yeah,
just
she's an
stripping her.
extreme masochist, and he's
Yeah.
like grabbing her by the throat and shit like
Yeah, he's
that.
stripping her clothes off.
Yeah.
And I was there going, oh God, we're not going to have to...
But-
I don't want to talk about a rape scene. Like,
But
you know?
but here's the bit where it's like, she wants me to beat her to get the information out of her and all
Yeah.
this sort of thing. It's like, step outside if you don't want to see this. And to Kane, the
Yeah.
SAS guy, and Kane just goes, "Well, I don't mind. I'm a natural voyeur."
Yeah.
In the most upper crusty British kind of
Oh,
way.
This was...
And he just sits down, crosses the legs, and it's like, okay, have
Yeah.
at her.
Yeah, that's... I like to play audience to sex crimes. So, it was weird. It didn't... thankfully, it wasn't a rape scene.
Like
well,
your man Kane, he only has like he's a range of 3 emotions.
Yeah.
It's sort of like condescension, the stare, and
being a bit of a perv.
and that was his third phase. But he did, and he did it in the most like matter of fact kind of way. Like this is a thing he's done more than once,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
which makes me wonder what he gets up to in those discos.
It's all about... Oh, yeah. What is love?
Yeah.
Baby, don't hurt me.
He's probably just underneath the dance floor looking up.
Yeah, he's like he's got one of those. Basically, alright, he's Jimmy Valiant.
Yeah.
But, and I'm not going to explain that.
No, we're not going to explain that. Look it up.
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
But what is it? He gets like psychic information about the woman from about Space Girl from this girl who's been playing host to her, and he's there going like, "Oh, okay, well I know her spirit, her life force,
Yeah.
has jumped into someone else." So he goes and does a bait and switch. When we actually find out it's in Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
And this scene, next scene, if that other scene where he's basically sexually harassing a woman,
Yeah.
and calling her a masochist in front of a man,
Yeah.
if you thought that was weird, in the next scene he actually makes out with Patrick Stewart.
Yeah. Now here's the thing. I want to ask you about this. In this scene, is Patrick Stewart's acting great or just incredibly cheesy?
Oh, when they give him like a truth serum or
Yeah.
something, and he just goes. "Ah!"
I'm in two minds. I'm in two minds about this.
He's on the Nick Cage line.
Yeah, he is channeling the Cage, all right. And I'm trying to, because I'm trying to figure out. It's like, okay, he's dealing with something that the Royal Shakespeare Company does not prepare you for.
Oh yeah, you're now a space sex girl.
You've got an alien symbiote in you,
Yeah.
and you're trying to fight it, and it's not really working. How does playing Iago prepare you for that one? And
Well, if he was Rowan Gielgud.
yeah, I suppose.
But he's on the thing. He's on the bed. They're giving him the truth serum. They're trying to get some information out of Space Girl, right? And Space Girl at this point goes, because she's phasing in and out between being Patrick Stewart and being the Space Girl physically. She goes, I am the perfect projection of femininity from your mind.
Yeah.
I took this form to facilitate.
There was a brilliant bit of sound engineering with this, where it's spoken both in her voice and in Patrick Stewart's.
Yeah. But like she's there going, I am your projection of femininity.
Yeah.
I'm the feminine inside you.
Yeah.
And I was there going, wait a minute now, is this about some kind of weird latent homosexuality?
Yeah.
You know?
It could well be.
Because he's there going, oh, that's the female part of my brain. And then he's like kissing a dude. You know what I mean?
It's possible.
Him and Stuart, they actually kissed. Like, it's a full-on kiss they're having.
Yeah, I'm not sure there was tongues there, but there was definitely.
I was just like, this is fucking amazing.
Yeah,
like, I'm watching Patrick Stewart like kiss a man.
Yeah,
worth the price of admission.
Yes,
like, you know,
done.
But
you know, there are like X-Men fangirls who are downloading this movie frantically as we speak.
I was just like, I don't know.
You know, they've written fan fiction like this, but they've never seen it.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. Like they're for whatever reason, like, it gets into the Home Secretary as well, I seem to remember.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, we'll transport both of their bodies back to London with us.
And here's where we learn that the aliens, Russo swerved them.
Yeah.
That this was all a big ploy to take them out of London, but there were other alien vampires in London spreading this around.
Yep.
And
it was a Trojan horse situation.
Yeah, it was a Trojan horse situation. It was a swerve, bro. They never saw it coming. And it was and this is the part where this movie, for me at least, becomes fucking awesome.
Oh yeah.
Like we've got a half hour left of this movie.
Yeah.
And it is from
Zombie
here on out.
Vampire
From here on
madness.
out, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Right? They come back to London, which is in the throes of this.
Oh, we got to talk about, there was this mental sequence on the plane.
Oh, yes, yes.
Where the Patrick Stewart and the Home Secretary's body evacuate all its blood.
Yeah.
And a blood version of the Space Girl forms in the plane.
Yeah.
Like, that was so cool.
And, again, that's playing into the weird psychosexual shit.
Yeah,
because she's still naked as the day she was born.
She's covered in gore.
But covered in gore. And it was sort of like, you've seen Switchblade Romance?
No, I haven't.
Oh, right. But there's a scene in that where Cecile de France, she's like, covered head to toe in gore, like an axe in one hand, a chainsaw in the other, and you're looking at it going, this shouldn't be hot. This really should not be hot. But it fucking is.
Well, that was the thing with Space Girl. Like, she looked great in the blood. Like,
yeah. Well, in fairness, she looked great in anything.
I'm just thinking, they're in the sky.
Yeah.
She's covered in blood.
Yeah.
Why isn't there a more obvious Red Wings joke?
Yeah.
You know? But anyway, yeah, she's. I wouldn't mind that version of her just falls to the ground and becomes a big puddle of blood.
Yeah, and just sloshes out the side of the helicopter.
Yeah. But we get back to London anyway,
Yeah.
and we find out the big boss man himself,
Yeah.
the Prime Minister,
Yeah.
is a vampire man now too.
Yeah, because he brings his secretary into the war room office.
Yeah.
And you just see him doing the fucking the lightning thing.
The lightning shift.
Yeah, the lightning shift. And it's like, okay, shit has gone wrong here.
Yeah, like there's vampire zombie madness in the streets.
Yeah.
As like a lightning is raiding, is flying around.
Yeah.
Collecting people's souls.
And there is a character we've kind of left out of this, which we really shouldn't have, because it was kind of important to it. Dr. Hans Lambda, who worked for the ESA, and he was played by an old thesp called Frank Finlay, who actually got a CBE while this was being made, but that's neither here nor there. And his job in this film, his role, was to give exposition in a really grim tone.
Yeah.
Carlson and Kane, when they get back to London, and it's all gone a bit 28 days later.
Yeah.
The city is overrun. There are people being murdered, being eaten in the streets and shit like that. As you do. Carlson goes straight for Space Girl. It's like that's where he's going. And Kane, he goes off and he finds Lambda. And Lambda has managed to kill one of the original space vampires.
Yeah.
With a lead sword, I think it was.
Well, why wouldn't you have a lead sword?
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Because you'd put it in your big lead gun.
Yeah.
You know.
And apparently you have to get these things with the lead sword 3 inches below their heart.
Yeah,
which is the Lifeforce chi.
Yeah, I guess that's
chi
probably
point.
If you were to go to like one of those shitty like quack shops.
Yeah.
All
your chakras and
sell
shit.
crystals and all that bollocks.
Yeah.
They'd probably explain to you why this is realistic. But they're like, oh yeah, that's how Mike Tyson won all his fights. He punched people in the Lifeforce. But,
it's not that he didn't knock motherfuckers out.
But he said like, yeah, you got to stab them with this sword.
Yeah.
He said lead. Eyes are going, alright, so bullets will work, right?
Yeah, you think so,
Yeah.
because bullets are made of lead.
Yeah.
But apparently not. Apparently it has to be a sword through this particular point, at a crossroads at midnight, on the 13th day of the 13th month.
Seventh son of the seventh son.
Absolutely.
But it's weird, like the H.P. Lovecraft spaceship at this point, all the people who are turning into vampire zombies, their souls are being sucked up into that.
That's right, yeah.
Because that's how it powers itself.
Mm.
And it's a genuinely kind of creepy looking ship, like with the weird kind of claw membranous wing thing going on, like
it's got this sort of umbrella thing at the back of it.
It's very strange looking, and so basically just thousands of people like attacking each other and eating each other in the streets.
Yeah.
As the two boys try to, one of them goes to Dr. Frankenstein's house.
Dr. Lambda, yeah.
And then the other guy goes after Space Girl.
Now they did an Invasion USA on this, because this wasn't a set that they built just to destroy.
Oh yeah, I'd heard that.
This was a model village just outside Christchurch in the UK.
Yeah.
That was going to be demolished anyways. So they slipped the town council a few quid and they burnt the fucker to the ground.
Yeah.
While filming in it. And,
why not?
Because why the fuck not?
So like all the buildings and all that blow up, they're legit.
They're legit exploding.
Nice.
And it looks amazing.
The like London is being torn apart by the vampires and all at this point, and the guy goes to Dr. Lambda's house or whatever his name is, and he's turning into a vampire.
Yeah.
So the guy kills him, and then he goes to chase after Carlson and the Space Girl.
Yeah.
And when he gets there, they're in a portal having the ride. Yeah,
in a portal in St. John's Cathedral.
Yeah.
Somewhere underneath the altar.
Yeah.
Giving it a weird sort of satanic thing going on or whatever.
An inversion
of what or whatever it may be. I was thinking I was thinking when he got there, the two of them would be riding on the altar, but apparently that was too on the nose.
Yeah.
So,
but it was the shame of
Yeah.
it. Like, the guy is there, and he's like, he's clearly wanting to get up in this girl.
Yeah.
Right? And she's there going, lob it into me, boss.
Yeah.
None of your fancy tricks.
exactly. Slide her in.
Quick
Slide
before
her
it
in.
heals over.
Exactly.
You know? And they're riding away down there.
Yeah.
And he's there going, oh, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
And
But I
she's-
do, but I
yeah.
don't, but I do.
And she's there going, why don't you shut your fucking mouth and put your hips into it? You know? And they're going at it, and the guy turns up. What's his name?
Kane.
Kane turns up, and he's like, you know, come on, get up, or I'll help you, or something.
Yeah. Kane, help
Yeah.
me!
Yeah. And like at this point, like souls are being evacuated into
Yeah.
space, and
Yeah,
an
straight
army-
through these, and they're in the life force. They're in the life stream having this scene.
Yeah,
You
it's,
know, they're doing a bit of heavy petting, surrounded by the souls of London.
it's weird. Like what it reminded me of was, I don't know if you ever seen Threads.
Can't say I have.
Threads, right, that's a horror movie.
Okay.
Right? Threads is a BBC made film from the mid '80s, right, about what would happen to Britain if the nuclear war.
Oh,
broke out.
I've heard about this. I've never seen it.
And it's the same kind of look to the street panic scenes.
Yeah.
Threads, if you want to be completely just destroyed by a film,
Yeah.
watch Threads. It's so effective, like, and it will make you terrified of nuclear war. But that's what this reminded me of, and I started going,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh,
But
the entire time, I'm at both. I'm equally unnerved and fucking, and like adrenaline pumping while this is going on, because it's like,
Yeah.
okay, this is I'm in. Come on.
he throws the guy throws the lead sword down
Yeah.
to Captain Coulson or whatever his name is,
Yeah.
and he's still riding her,
Yeah.
but he sticks the sword in her back,
Yeah.
and through himself as well.
Yeah.
So it's the ultimate shame ride. Where he's like,
yeah.
oh God, I don't want to stop, so I'll kill the two of us.
I mean, the only thing that
Carlson
Yeah.
is a cunt.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, right?
Like that, and it was weird. I'm not sure what the symbolism is here,
Yeah.
but that was the only time in this movie that he penetrated that girl.
yeah,
You know, I'm not sure what to make of that particular part of that.
I don't like him.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like, my attitude is, right, when it comes to human sexuality,
yeah,
is get your shit in, brother.
Yeah.
Right? Whatever your shit may be, get it in.
Yeah.
And as long as you're not making a victim out of another human being in the process,
yeah, go for it.
you know, then go to it, like, you know. And he's just there going, no, I don't want to do it. You
Yeah.
know, I was there going, why don't you take that shit to knock? Alright?
Yeah. Fuck off to Branson, Missouri with your shit, bro.
Yeah, like, why don't you go buy some tacky fucking statues of the Virgin Mary, you
Yeah.
prick. But, like, you've got this hot vampire. You're telling me, like, if
Yeah.
a hot space vampire was like, hey, let's be...
Yeah.
Yeah, that film would be over in about 10 seconds if I was to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be like, cool, I guess I'm going to live with her.
Yeah, this is why you've never been cast in a psychosexual horror,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think.
So it's just like, hey, brother,
I'm getting in.
you know what I say?
Yeah.
The bell rings and it's all, it's all left open until the finish.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
And, but yeah, so he kills the two of them, but he doesn't really, because their souls go up to the space umbrella,
Yeah.
so they kind of win.
Yeah, the space vampires win in this scenario.
Yeah.
It's what I like to call a four horseman win. You know, where they've got their shit in, and someone does a run in with the chain or a chair or something like that and runs them off.
Yeah.
But they've still done their damage.
Yeah,
They've
yeah.
still made their point, and they've still got their win in. You know, and that's pretty much, you know, movie over.
Yeah.
Like, the space vampires win.
Yeah, and
in
the
this-
ship that's all powered up with human souls.
Yeah, it just flies off to some other part of the world.
Oh, it flies back to the comet.
Yeah, which will come back again in what, like 70, 75 years?
Something like that, yeah.
You know, to do this shit all over again.
Yeah.
And
And they wouldn't have ever achieved it had the people not interfered with them.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, so it's very like there's a lot going on there because there's a big space dick out there with these weird vampires.
Yeah, that'll just come back every now and again and just fuck everyone.
Yeah, it's a weird movie.
It's kind of got a sexual repression vibe to it.
Very much so. I think there's a lot to do with latent homosexuality.
Yeah, because you know, Kane is a military man. You know, that's a lot of suppression of feeling and emotion, and what have you. The other people like Carlson and Lambda and people like that are men of science. You know, nerds. Let's be perfectly fucking honest. And you know, who traditionally aren't really lady killers.
No.
You know, so
they're not going to sing "Still of the Night" anytime soon.
Exactly. So, you know, the space girl represents to them what they want, but what they kind of can't have, but they feel weird about wanting that sort of thing.
Well, as I said, she's the only female character outside of the girls on the shuttle.
Yeah.
So it is like gangs of male characters who are just terrified of the sexuality of one female character.
Exactly, which is kind of fucked up.
But it's what made the film good.
Exactly,
Again, that's the stake with the sizzle. Like, Don't get me wrong, there's plenty of sizzle in this movie.
Oh, there's a shitload of sizzle.
London blows up to fuck.
Yeah.
And there's vampire zombies raging around, and like there's plenty of action and
like all effects. The blood gets drained out of Captain Picard and forms a fucking space vampire.
Yeah, there's plenty of that, but there's also the other stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what makes a great movie, if you ask me. I don't think this was a great movie. I think it was a very good film. But like the best films, like Alien, why does Alien persevere as a classic? Because it's got all that weird sexual shit.
Yeah.
It says something about humanity, and it says something about what the audience thinks of it.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, you know, the end of Alien has been discussed a million times over.
Yeah.
You know? But it's just like, look at this weird sexualized imagery.
And I think as well as that, it was kind of a product of its time. Because the original book, Space Vampires, was written... Yeah, that was the original title, Space Vampires.
Not burying the lead, lads.
No, not burying the lead. But it was written back in the late 70s, where the feminist movement was just picking up steam, like second wave at least, and it was all about
Gen 2.
Yeah, Gen 2. You know,
with Galvatron.
You know, femme harder.
But Galvatron became a feminist.
Exactly.
You know,
but
and they're like, Starscream, he was holding the first wave feminists back.
Damn, I had a point here. Fuck. No, but you know, and shit. Yeah. But you know, it was, you know, and it was sort of about the, you know, the fear of femininity in society and what have you. You know.
Yeah.
You know, in much the same way, you know, a movie like say Southern Comfort was about Vietnam.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. It was sort of it was a product of its time.
Oh, very much so.
In like very visceral kind of way, you know. And
sexual science fiction was a thing in the 70s, where like before it was very sterile.
Yeah,
you know, it was like it was what it was. It was Flash Gordon. It is what it is. 20 by 20 range.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
you know, there was the shrieking damsel. Oh, save me! And this one, the damsel. She ain't a damsel, and she will fuck you up.
But on top of that, like, it's following the alien tradition. Where, like, there was no, you know, Ripley was the person who saved everybody. Like,
exactly, yeah.
But it's definitely from that vein. And
I mean, they tried to do the same in Species, but it was a different time, and it didn't work.
Sucked.
Yeah.
But Species was like fucking...
Oh, excuse my cough, by the way.
But Species was just a shitty 90s movie, like, you know.
Yeah.
Like one of the... Species and Showgirls and movies like that.
Interchangeable,
yeah. Although I do remember picking up the comic book version of Species in a Western bookshop, and I'd always go and look at it because there was a picture of the actress in it, and she was naked.
Yeah.
And I was like... this is
Natasha Henstridge.
Yeah, but you remember back when like you had to literally kill a man to see a picture of a naked human, let alone like, you know, as a kid going, holy shit, man!
Yeah.
Go every time
nipples.
Every time I'm in Wexford, I can go see a boob.
Fuck yeah! What?
Yeah, but it was the thing with this movie is, like, as I said, it leaves you wondering what certain parts of it were about.
Yeah.
It leaves you with a lot of imagery, while wrapping up its story.
Yeah, it was kind of muddled and a bit confused in a lot of ways. I mean, according to the backstage story, when Dan O'Bannon got brought on to do his run, they'd already done 8 drafts of it.
Oh, okay.
And apparently Tobe Hooper threw out a lot of Dan O'Bannon's stuff.
Yeah.
And got a writer in, a guy named Michael Armstrong, who was known for writing like British sex comedies. Like The Sex Thief and Adventures of a Private Eye. And
oh, no, not those.
Yeah, those. And, yeah. And from what I was told, it went way over budget, it went way over schedule, and they couldn't shoot scenes that they wanted to shoot. They had to cut out about like 15 minutes from the Churchill. It was a bit muddled, and it was a bit confused, and I think it was a troubled production.
Yeah.
That really hurt it.
Well, I mean, when you go on IMDb and you look at the amount of people who are considered for separate parts.
Yeah. And like real stars.
Yeah, and you're like, Jesus Christ, like how did you have time to think about this? Like,
yeah.
You know? And clearly Cannon were thinking, oh well, you know, maybe Golan-Globus were thinking, well, we usually get these other movies made on a quick schedule.
Yeah.
So if we spend a lot of money and spend a ton more time making this movie, we'll end up with a blockbuster.
Yeah.
You know?
And in fairness, if you see it on paper, like the director of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the writer of Alien, Henry Mancini, a shitload of Royal Shakespeare Company actors, and an incredibly hot female lead.
Yeah.
I mean, you can blockbusters have been made with a lot less than that.
But I can see why it didn't catch on as a mega hit.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, because it's a very strange film, but not in a committed way.
Yeah.
Like not in like say the Don't Look Now way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it's like, let's just be weird.
Yeah.
No, this is like, it's weird because of what it is.
Yeah, it's trying. You're not sure if it's trying to be a conventional sort of sci-fi horror, or if it's just trying to be like weird and psychological.
Yeah.
And it is a muddle. It's a mess. Let's be perfectly honest. It's a mess of a story.
It's a bit of a mess, but it's a lot of fucking fun.
Yeah, it's a hell of a lot of fun. Like the last half hour, like I was saying, is a shitload of fun.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend it. It's got some effective scares.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff we didn't cover because we don't have 7 hours.
Yeah.
You know, but there's a lot of stuff we didn't cover. There's a lot of elements to the story that are really interesting. It's shot well. Its score is great. The effects are fantastic. You know, it's well worth seeing. I would definitely recommend this to people. It's you know, it's
and as like the creature feature horror sort of genre goes, this is very fucking good.
If you're a teenage boy and you've insomnia, and you, like I did when I was a teenage boy, and you'd stay up until 4 a.m. watching horror movies, this is one for you.
Oh fuck yes!
You know, like when I was a kid, that was who I was. I knew every infomercial and episode of Jerry Springer off by heart because I just couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
You know, and I would stay up all night watching movies like this, and I would very much recommend checking it out.
I would give it a qualified recommendation. You know, this is for what it was. You know, in terms of history, like this was one of the films that killed Cannon in the long run, and in terms of, it was one of the flops of the 80s, to be perfectly honest. It lost about 14 million from a 25 million budget. But it is a lot of fun, and it's not what you'd expect it to be. It's well worth the look.
Yeah.
It is well worth the look.
I'm adding this to my Blu-ray list alongside Breaking and Last American Virgin.
This isn't getting deleted from my hard drive anytime soon.
Yeah.
I will show this to people. Maybe not my girlfriend, but people.
Well, I'm sure the next film we cover will get deleted from your hard drive.
Oh yes, long before my girlfriend gets here, you know, gets back at all, where this is going well off.
We've made an executive decision here at Cannon headquarters, and basically we've realised that it's we haven't covered any Charles Bronson films yet.
That is true.
And, you know, we might as well start with the big bad daddy of them all.
Yeah.
Alright? So the next episode, which will be out in 2 weeks' time on Joining Me to all sorry, I love doing that. But it'll be on Joining Media Ball, of course, where you'll be listening to this episode. We will be covering Death Wish 2.
Yes.
And
I have thoughts about this movie.
Thoughts are legion with
Yeah.
Death Wish 2. We're gonna, like we've discussed this in the past, we're gonna lightly cover Death Wish 1 to offer a bit of perspective. The thing is, Death Wish 1 wasn't made by Cannon.
No.
So we're not going to go too deep into that, but we will cover it. We'll keep you up to speed with what's going on in the Death Wish world, and then we'll get into Death Wish 2, which is a fairly controversial film. And but I think one that will give birth to quite an interesting conversation.
I think so too.
But a first Michael Winner film, of course.
Yeah. What a wonderful human being. Lover of children.
Yeah.
You know, friend to small animals.
Anyway, sure. Let's hit the trailer.
It happened once before.
Some muggers followed my wife and daughter home from the market.
It's about to happen again.
The police there got a very good description of the muggers, too. But it didn't do any good.
We do what we can.
And so does he.
Is this your daughter, Mr. Kersey? Mr. Kersey, is that Carol?
When murder and rape are the crimes, Bronson is the only punishment. Charles Bronson, Death Wish 2.
There's something else you should know, sir. Paul Kersey now lives in Los Angeles.
Oh, my God.
Now you tell me there's a vigilante out there.
You believe in Jesus?
Yes, I do.
Well, you're going to meet him.
He killed 9 people in New York City 4 years ago. The people he killed were muggers. He became a hero.
What did he look like?
He was a very good citizen, that's what he was. That guy saved our lives, damn it. Where the hell were you guys, giving out parking tickets?
When violence rules the city, when the police can't stop it, one man will, his way.
Watch out!
Charles Bronson.
Goodbye.
Death Wish 2. He's doing it for you.
Okay, well, I guess that's it. I hope anyone who's sensitive, if you have triggers, if you think triggers are a thing that exist, triggers, which I honestly think are like the electrolytes of psychology. But if you got trigger, if you don't like badness, don't probably listen to Death Wish 2, because we're gonna have to get into it.
Oh, in a big way.
But I hope everyone else who is a grown up can join us. Listen, because it's very important for us to discuss Charles Bronson, because he was like the Cannon big bad boy.
Yeah, he was the guy they built the empire around.
Yeah, man.
Well, him and Chuck, to be perfectly honest.
Chuck Norris, Michael Dudikoff, and Van Damme.
Yeah,
the Cannon guys. And I'll say this, like, despite its horrible elements, Death Wish 2 is, from what I remember, a pretty good action movie. So I'm looking forward to get into it. But anyway, I hope everybody who's listening enjoyed Lifeforce, and I hope we shed some light on Lifeforce.
Yeah,
a little bit more of a. I would say this is probably less of a jokey episode, but there was more to talk about.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it was kind of cool to get into the meat of Lifeforce. Yeah. But that's one thing I've noticed. And the shitter the film, the funnier we have to be.
That's true. Yeah.
But it's this I enjoyed watching this and talking about it. But basically, if you want to keep up with us, we've got a Facebook page called you just go facebook.com/the Cannon Canon.
Yeah.
But the most effective way to keep up with us is probably just to subscribe to the Giant Media Ball page on Facebook. So that's where all of our episodes are usually shared first.
Good
You can also follow Giant Media Ball on Twitter, and you can follow us on Twitter. I'm Johnny Capcom, and your robot host Sean.
Yep.
Basically, if you want to get in contact with us for whatever reason, you can just use any one of those avenues. I'm sure you can figure out how to use these avenues. Just, post or tweet to us or whatever else. We'd like to thank everybody who listens to the show. And of course, we'd like to thank Good Brother Editor, who's no doubt been cutting this for us.
Yeah.
And so as soon as Scott Meany's PureFiller.com comes back from its DDoS attacks, it'll be back up online, I'm
Bunch
sure.
of savages on the internet, man.
Oh, yeah. And, well, that's what you get for being a sexist, apparently. Sorry, that's a very deep joke.
Yeah.
About a review, a podcast Scott and Matt do called Fishing the Percolator, which I very much recommend checking out if you're a fan of Twin Peaks. But, so there you go. You there's how you get to know us.
Yeah.
And anything to say, Sean, on the way out?
Until next time, have a good time.
And, grand.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see you again. And, bye.
Bye.